In this tutorial, I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to sewing or caging your bustier without stress. This is a sweetheart neckline and you can see how well caged it is. I'll be sharing with you some tips to sewing a bustier without stress, okay? This is the inside of this structured caged bustier and you can see how it looks right here. If you're on the plus size or even normal size, I'll be sharing with you some beautiful tips in this class. So I'll encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. Thank you. So the first thing you are going to do is to ensure you have cut out your pattern. This is my bustier pattern as you can see, and I've added my seam allowances accordingly. For this bust caging, we are going to work on the lining. So I'm going to set aside the front pattern and I'll pick up the lining right now. The first thing I'm going to do is to hairstay my lining. Here you can see I'm done hairstaying my lining. Next, I'll go ahead and bring my medium stay. I'll be using a medium stay on top of the lining just to give it a little bit structure. This is what I got after I'm done ironing my medium stay on it. Next, we are going to join this bustier. So make sure you mark the under bust area. I will join with 1/2 inch right now. After joining at the under bust, don't forget to make a little notch. So I'll just go ahead and make a little notch as you see me do right here. Next, I will go over to the ironing table to open up the seams this way with my tailor's ham. Right here, I'm done doing that. So I'm going to reduce the seam on the bust area. The part we are going to bust cage right now, I'll quickly reduce the seams on it. So when you are reducing this seam, please just take it easy so you don't cut through your seam allowance or your stitches. This is what I got after I'm done reducing the seams on both sides. Next, we'll begin to mark out the bust caging. So you are going to mark the under bust this way. At the center front, you mark it straight. Then coming to the sides, I'll take the measurement of my nipple to nipple. I have 7 inches there, so half of it will give me 3.5 on one side. Then you are going to add 1 inch, making it 4.5. So I'm marking 4.5 on the both sides. So the bust is fuller at the side, you add 1 more inch. So I'll just go ahead and mark to that point. From that point, on the upper area, I'm adding 1 inch, as you can see. I'll mark 1 inch on the upper area all through. Then I'll begin to connect this line. I've connected the upper areas and this is the side, as you can see. So after we are done marking this is what I got on the first phase. Next, you come to the center front and mark a straight line. Then if it depends on how much caging you want to give this. So on the horizontal, I'll mark at the nipple point all the way down. So at this point, we've gotten the basic caging, but you can continue to add more lines on the horizontal and on the vertical as well. So this is it. I just want to add more lines this way, and I'll also add more lines that way. So just watch me and see what I'm doing right here. And the secret I want to share with you in this class is the easiest way to cage this. So after you are done marking the lines, you can also put some lines at the center, as you can see. So the secret of a perfect caging is your boning. You can see the boning I have here is 0.3 mm. 0.3 mm is a tinier boning than the 0.5 we know. So you can see me measuring it here. Is above 0.25 or 1/4 of an inch. So if you go to the market, just ask for a 0.3 mm boning. This works like magic. It's very flexible. It can move around the circle if you want it to. Now we are going to start from that sweetheart. At the sweetheart point, you can see me place it exactly at that point and we'll begin to stitch right away. I'm going to sew at the outer layer of this boning, as you can see. So I just want you to watch me sew this without stress. If you are using the 0.5 mm, that is very thick and you'll find it difficult to move it around this kind of circle, okay? So that is just the secret. I'm going to sew all the way to the outer space, all around, as you see me do. I'm just taking my time to do this, so there's no rush on this. Just keep moving like that. So we are going to sew all around, as you can see right there, and we'll come back to the sweetheart as shown. I just want you to see and observe that I went through this boning with ease, and I have to take each step one at a time. So this is still me working on the outer part of this boning, and here I've returned to that sweetheart. Can you see? Next, you just go ahead and cut it off as shown. So you will see we left the under part open, and that is where we are going to insert all our boning structure. So we are going to start from the horizontal first. We'll sew all the horizontal. So if you look very well, did you observe I am using the 0.33 mm, the way it is bending? That is how I kept this. Please don't invert it. I mean the boning, the way it is bending normally, okay? That is how you are going to sew. So once you get to the end of it, just go ahead and measure very well. So I'll just cut exactly at this point. Once you are done cutting out, next you are going to insert it that way. Then you also continue to the end of it. So the outer boning is going to be on top of it this way, and you top stitch or back stitch. I'll cut it out right now, and don't forget to cut out all your threads. If you really need a very neat finishing, please go ahead and cut every single thread. So this is what I got on the horizontal. So I stitched only one side and I'll continue on the other side. So if you are stitching, please allow the cup to go in deep the way it is structured normally. Don't make it flat or don't squeeze anything, or else your cup will come out flat. You can see I'm done sewing all the horizontal lines, and you can see the outer boning is still open to insert the vertical line. So we'll go ahead to stitch the vertical right now. So I've done some stitching right there, so I want to show you how to stitch that center point. So I started stitching by inserting under the outer boning, and here I cut it at the center front so I can insert it under that sweetheart. Then you are going to sew as you see me sew right here, and I'm going to sew the other way as well. If you also notice, you can see I'm cutting every single thread off. That is what can make your buskaging look very neat and clean. So I want to show you how to sew the part that we have the bustier. So I'm going to insert under the outer boning, and I'll go ahead to stitch one side of the boning. So I placed the 0.3 mm boning on one side this way. So you can see how I placed the boning. The boning is really very flexible. So just keep it the way it is bending. Then once I got to the end, I cut it out this way. I lifted this part and used it to close it up. Once I get to the end, I'm going to raise my presser foot to continue stitching the other way. So you can see how I'm trying to push in my cup. Don't make it flat or else it will come out flat. Now I'm done stitching on that point. I will go ahead to stitch the last one right now. I'll also show you because I need you to see how I did it. So you can see how the boning is bending. That's exactly what I'm saying. So the way it's curving, just like a cup, that is also the same way you insert it and stitch. So here I am stitching the last piece right now. So I'll go ahead to stitch on one side till I get to the end, just like I've been stitching for the rest of them. So at this point, I'll lift up the outer one and then raise my presser foot to continue stitching on the other side as shown. So once I get to the end of the other side, as you can see here, I'm going to close up the remaining part of it. So this is it. As I got to this point, I'll begin to stitch close the outer layers. I kept stitching till I got to that center front area where we have the sweetheart. Can you see that? I'll raise my presser foot and I'll continue to stitch the other way as well. I will stitch it from that point all the way round. I have finally gotten to where I started and I'll stop at that point. So you can see how the caging looks like right here. After caging the bust area, I want to sew my boning. So the boning I'm sewing to snatch this bustier is just 0.5 mm. Please don't use 0.3 mm for the sewing of the body area because it's really very flexible and small. So we are going to use our normal 0.5 mm boning now. So I've marked out my boning lines. I'll go ahead to stitch. So here I'll just go ahead to stitch my boning from the under bust area, then leaving 1 inch. So the way you see the boning bend, that is how I'm going to bend it in. I'll stitch and stop at 1 inch and cut it off. I'm done sewing my boning, the 0.5 mm. You can see how I stitched on the center front and on the dart area. Especially on the dart area, I have to move my boning on one side for a good fitting. So I want to insert another boning. This is 0.3 mm and is a nylon boning. So I have to use my lighter to finish up that end. And you can see me inserting it the way it is bent too. Here, I'm going to insert at the center front this way. So once it gets to the under bust area, I'll cut it off. I'll also use my lighter too on the nylon boning. So this nylon boning is not sewable. So once you insert like that, that's how I'm going to put on all the bonings I just made now to make it firm. It's time for us to flesh this cage bustier. So you turn it to the other side so we can cage it. So I have my fiber here. You can use your fiber, you can use layers of hairstay, but I prefer the fiber method. So with your tailor's ham, you are going to put it right inside. As you can see, I'll place my hemming glue all over it. So we are going to work on one side because I have my tailor's ham on one side. I'll keep pasting my glue as you can see right here. Once I place the glue, next I'm going to bring in my fiber. I'll place the fiber from the under bust area this way, and then I'll go ahead to iron. I'll use a hot iron to iron this. So by the time it sticks on it on this other part, I'm going to bring out the tailor's ham for the other side as well. So I just want it to stick a little bit, not really fully. So you bring your tailor's ham and put it on the other side as well. Make sure you also lay your hemming glue. So that's exactly what I'm doing on the other side, and then I'll proceed to iron it out as well. After ironing, we are going to trim this following the shape of the cage. I'll trim it all around. After trimming, just go ahead and continue ironing. This time around, you use enough steam to make sure you iron it very well. So this is what I have here. I have to cut through the 1 inch on the front area where we have the sweetheart, so I'll be able to iron very well. So you have to take your time to iron with steam right here. This is what I got at the end of the day. So you can see how well structured this is looking. So I went ahead to join the front piece. So just go ahead and place notches on the front piece like this. This is the part that will lay on top. So if you look very well, you also notice that we have some parts we want to trim off. So this does not affect anything at all. From the armhole, just go ahead and round it up. Okay, so it happens like this many a times, but it does not affect anything on the dress at all. It's time for us to stitch the front bustier to the lining bustier. You remember that the part we caged is the lining, so this is actually how it's supposed to fit. So I'm going to place this right side to right side right now. Then we are going to stitch 1/2 inch. I'll go over to my machine and I'm going to hold the center front area and stitch 1/2 inch, leaving 2 inches seam allowance on this side. After stitching at 1/2 inch, I'll just place my notch at the center front. So you have to do that very gently. So I kept placing my notches all around. These notches are very important. Remember, you cage this bustier. So I just chop off the parts that I have my seam allowance. Next, I'm going to flip all my seams to the part of the lining right now, which is the caged part, and I'll top stitch to make it flatter. After top stitching, I gave it a good press. You can see the result of our cage bustier looking so beautiful. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.